Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and today we're putting on the tinfoil hats. The tinfoil hat is on, guys, because we have a really good comment left on my video talking about the changes coming to the arena, and he was pointing out why and what the reason might be for them finally nerfing the Arbiter missions, making Arbiter easier to get from those arena missions. Had a whole video on that yesterday as well, guys, but this was a comment from Dazi, or Days. He said, read between the lines. Now, he's got quite a negative spin, but I think he's got a really good argument here, guys. What they really said was, we saw that many players don't want to buy our overpriced Arbiter skin because they can't reach the arena requirements we set. We're making it easier to achieve these missions, so open up your wallets. Prove me wrong. They heard us before about the missions being too difficult for newer players to achieve. Just so happens to be, they want to make it easier after implementing the first skin for that champ. Plarium calculates everything. Making the missions easier to complete expands the value of their overpriced skin by increasing the amount of customers who just happen to get their new Arbiter. So yeah, like I said, I think it's a very negative take on it, but it is ultimately correct, though. It is ultimately correct. I thought this is quite funny. We look at the time. They announced the nerf to the Arbiter missions, the upcoming nerf. Now, they don't have quite a date on it yet, but it's on the way. It is coming. They announced that about 4 p.m. yesterday. This skin has been in the shop for about 20 hours for me. It's 10 in the morning. It actually just ticked over from 4 to 3. I think this came live globally to buy in the game at 2 p.m. yesterday. So there was 2 hours between them globally releasing the skin and then the announcement, the plan to nerf the Arbiter progress missions. Are the two related? 100%. I think 100% they are related. Now, my more positive spin on it, my more positive take is actually, yeah, it's a concept, a principle I've talked about in previous videos. Not a concept or a principle. It's an idea I've talked about in previous videos. But basically, it comes down to monetizing the game and how they monetize the game, right? Before skins and stuff came into it, it was a pay-to-win game, right? Everything that you were buying was stuff that would give you power, gave you more resources to compete in the game. It's pay-to-win. What we have now is pay-to-skin. I've seen a lot of people actually are really anti-skin and super negative about it, and I think that's a very naive point of view, extremely naive. Because ultimately, what does the company care about? The company obviously is going to care about the pay part. They want to make money. Every gaming company does as well. Some people are like, I can't believe they just want to make money. It's like that's fundamentally how pretty much every gaming company works. You know, maybe you've got a couple of indie devs that are in it as like a charity thing, but pretty much all in there to make as much money as they can. That's the deal. Welcome to capitalism, you know. But yeah, if you got pay to win, pay to skin. Here's the thing. Like he said, you probably have a big portion of the player base who before, when it was just pay to win, would never have paid any money. They would not have spent anything, or they would have spent a very low amount of money. But of that group of players, a very big group of players, there's a lot of players in there that will buy skins. If you look at other games that have skins, are skins popular? Yeah, skins are crazy popular. People love buying skins. That's basically how League of Legends makes all of its money, right? It's through selling skins, or most of it. Yeah, skins will sell. So you have to turn those players that previously weren't paying players, that they will now become paying players with the skin. But as Dazzy pointed out, if they can't even get Arbiter, they're not going to get the skin for her, are they? So then Plarium will come in and make it easier. The idea I talked about before in my video was that the great thing about skins coming in is that it's a different source of monetization. And what that enables them to do is actually to introduce more quality of life. This is a concept that I think a lot of people don't really understand. They go, why were the Arbiter missions before? Why were they so difficult? I just can't understand why they would ever be difficult. And it's like, you haven't really thought about it very much, have you? You haven't really thought about it. Why are the Arbiter missions so difficult? Why is anything in the game so difficult and it takes so long? Well, part of that is that part of it is this more general concept that scarcity and stuff makes it, more interesting. It makes it more meaningful when you get something finally. I think one example of that, one thing that I do enjoy about it as well, is that, if you look at Arena right now, if you look at like Gold 4, Gold 5 Arena right now, that will give you an idea of what happens like when you get to platinum, when everyone has every champion basically, and it's like it's all the same sort of stuff. It's ridiculously hard. There's very little variety. It's not as interesting as where, you know, a situation where people don't have everything. So there's more variety, there's more interest there. That's a bit of a side point though. The bigger point is, what do people do when they run into that? Well, here we come. This is where pay to win comes in. Plarium sits down and goes, hey, we know that arena is really difficult. Wouldn't you like to get that Arbiter? Well, wouldn't it be easier to get Arbiter if you had these extra shards? Yeah? Wouldn't it be easier if you bought these 5-star? Why do they sell 5-star accessories? That's terrible. You get the idea though. Wouldn't it be easier if you just bought some of that gear off the shop, right? Wouldn't that be better? You know, go get yourself some energy. Go buy yourself some shards. Wouldn't it be easier? And that's what people do. That is what people do. And that's how they make so much money. And you go, is it a good strategy for selling stuff in your game? Does it, you know, end up with a game that makes lots of money? I mean, look at their revenue. Obviously it does, right? It obviously works extremely well. That's the pay to win side. The advantage of the pay to skin stuff, like I said, is that you've got now different groups of people that are, you know, potential customers, potential paying customers that have different needs, right? They have different needs, different things they want. And it enables them to pull back a little bit on that pay to win stuff. They're not going to pull back that much, but they will pull back a little bit and therefore make it easier, give you more power just by default, so that, yeah, those players that are put off by the pay to win aren't going to be as put off anymore. And now pay to skin comes in and can start taking its place. So it is ultimately a good thing for the, you know, your typical consumer. It's actually a good thing, right? Less pay to win, more pay for aesthetic stuff. Leads to a healthier game overall. It leads to a better game, a more fun game that you can make better progress in with more reasonable time and expectations. So that is definitely good. Most likely, I mean, it's not a guarantee it will go that way, but that would certainly be my expectation of what should happen. And I think we're already seeing that with the Arbiter stuff, right? Arbiter skin comes in, Arbiter becomes easier to get. Awesome. That's a win. That's great. For your typical consumer that never pays anything, like a free-to-play player, this is just great. It's good. I think the next interesting question, and this is something I might prepare for, especially, or I would be preparing for if I were a newer player, what's the next skin coming up? We know that they have a couple of skins for Cold Heart. That's right, Cold Heart skins. We know they've said in their announcement post that they have a couple on the way. And again, this could be very positive, I think, for your typical player. As we all know, Cold Heart is incredibly powerful, by far the best rare in the game. She makes it, for that earlier player, she gives you that way to deal with Fire Knight, to deal with Spider, to actually get in and handle those dungeons. It's a huge deal to get your Cold Heart. Like, I never got Cold Heart until I beaten that stuff. Took me ages. And it made it so much harder. Whereas if you pull her early, it makes it so much easier and progress is so much better. We might see another positive thing come out of this, where, yeah, they add the Cold Heart skin in. Whenever that arrives in, they may do a couple of potential things they might do. They might do like a tournament or an event where you could earn a Cold Heart. I think that's probably the most likely thing. They might redo a guaranteed Void Pull event. They did one last year. I believe it was 7 Void Shards to get a Cold Heart. They might do it again. It might be like 7 or 10, I don't know. It'd be targeted at early game players, so be based off of their info as to how many Void Shards an early player typically has and would be willing to get. But they might do that guaranteed pull for Cold Heart again. They might redo that event. I think that's medium likely, and I think that would be a really good event. Again, for new players, getting that Cold Heart is huge. So yeah, we might expect something along those lines, which again is really good. I'd love a permanent sort of way to get Cold Heart, actually. Like even making her like a permanent fusion or something. That'd be pretty great. And again, the idea for them is that's quality of life for the players. Give you a really powerful rare, the best rare in the game, help you get through some of those dungeons. They now have as well plenty of content at, you know, further in the game with Doom Tower, Hydra, PvP stuff, all the rest that is super challenging. So it's not really any skin off their teeth if people are beating dungeons level 20, yeah? So it's sort of win-win there. Give people more progress, make them feel good, and now there's going to be a nice juicy skin. And hey, you know that Cold Heart that we basically gave you for free, or really easy to get, that Cold Heart? And she's been amazing for you. She's your new favorite champion. You've beaten all that stuff. Wouldn't it be good to put a nice skin on her for the low price of $100 or something? You know, whatever they do. But that's the concept. So there you go, guys. What do you think? Like I said, I do agree with Dazi here, or Days. yeah, I don't see how this is wrong. I'm pretty much 100% convinced, 100% convinced that them adding in the skins here is directly impacted their decision to finally come in and to finally nerf this stuff down and to make it easier. And for me, this is something that can only be positive going into the future. Well, no, okay, I'm telling you a lie there. It's not something that can only be positive, but I'm hoping that it will be mostly positive. Hoping that it will be mostly positive, and that, yeah, particularly they're going to be trying to target a new group of potential spenders, and that will push them to add in more quality of life stuff. There you go, guys. That is my tinfoil hat thesis. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.